Lisa McVinnie here. So, over the last few years, I've started to think about, why um, there's so much, and I'm just going to come out and say it, why there's so much sexual dysfunction in the world. And one of the things I came up with was that I think that in some countries that are much warmer than Canada, for example, um, people wear less just generally because um, it's too warm not to. And I think with the immigration or taking over of other countries, perhaps Europeans who were from colder climates might have come in and said that you need to cover up. My wife's upset by your bodily parts showing. My children are upset, or my wife is becoming upset because your wife is, not properly dressed, things like that. And so the shaming possibly started as it did in the European countries early on. So I've been thinking now that summer's coming, where are we now? April, almost May. Now that summer's coming, I think that in the winter people are all bundled up, and if we're dressed for special events, or we have a tight this, a bra that does that, underwear that does this, um, trousers that cover up how thin our legs are, or sleeves that cover up how big our arms are or small our arms are. It becomes very difficult to um, be vulnerable with someone in the bedroom because we become ashamed. You know, if I take off my clothes, it's too stunning. My legs are too skinny, kind of thing. So my solution, and same with women and men that are balding. If we wear hats and scarves all the time, then when we take the hat or scarf off, people are like, "Oh my God! Like, you look at what a mess your hair is." Whereas if you don't wear the hat or scarf and style it the best you can, messy, you know, I really feel messy looks are should be brought in more, especially for people with curly hair. Curly hair is very difficult to control. So anyway, the point is that for the summer coming, I'm encouraging everyone to get more naked. And I know it's hard, but start small. So, start with your feet. If you don't like your feet, then spend some time with them. Soak them. Many people have sore feet from standing on concrete or walking a lot. So get a basin, a square plastic container from the dollar store. I've put it in my bathtub, and then I put a chair in front of the bathtub so that I'm not sitting on the ledge of the bathtub. I put a chair right in front of the bathtub so my legs can still go over. Get yourself some um, what are they called? Like some smelling salts. Like you can add oils to salts, like what is it called? Epsom salts. Add some essential oils to it. You know, some toothpaste for mint. Whatever you want to smell. Some moisturizer, like some conditioner that you put for your hair that you don't necessarily like for your hair. Put it in with your bath water. I find getting a good antifungal too. Athlete's foot is causes a great deal of odor, and make sure you put it all around your toes in the creases, like your baby toe. Lift it up and put it right in the crease, because that seems to be where it catches. And I find with the Epsom salts and things, the more obnoxious the smell is, the nicer it is for my feet, because feet, often have an odor. And so, to combat that, if you use a um, very perfumed salt mixture, then it actually like will help your feet for pain, but it will also kill bacteria, but it also help fragrance them over time. So yeah, so if you're uncomfortable with getting naked, then start with your feet. Invest in a good pair of sandals, a good walking sandal. But my suggestion lately, I wrote a book, um, and one of my suggestions is to buy uh, footwear and clothing in three different heights or lengths. So for the summer coming, you might want to get um, a low sandal that's good for walking. You might want to get a perhaps a dressier shoe or boot that's lightweight, not lined. A nice shoe or boot. A boot is nice because if it's raining or if you're going somewhere in the evening and it gets cooler at night, because sometimes the temperature drops at night. So a low boot to wear with skirts or capris. If you're going out in the evening, that's good. And then if you want for dress wear, a higher boot. I don't know that I would suggest that necessarily for summer, except that um, again for dress wear, um, a higher boot that's flat is dressier than um, a shoe that has a heel that you're uncomfortable in. So if you can't do heels, then I suggest a higher boot, just because it will look more dressy than a flat shoe, possibly in evening wear. That would just be my suggestion. There's a couple places in town in Guelph, Ontario, that I would suggest. There's Superstore on Silver Creek. They have a massive selection. They have some really nice ones. I saw one in there the other day for women. It's basically a running shoe, but black, and then the sole is very. I'll show you what they kind of look like. So they kind of looked like this at the back, but thinner. And then it was lower cut here, and it didn't have this, but across the toe here, it had a bit of like a metal decoration. So it had like a long, slender piece, and then two dressier pieces at the end, like a low dress shoe. I thought it was amazing. It would look very comfortable. It would be great for seniors who are trying to, dress up but still have the comfort and art support and things. So Schuber had those. Schuber also has some great uh, uh, bling shoes for seniors that are dressy but have a chunkier heel. So, if you're looking for something that has a little bit of heel that's not too high, you're not going to, like, if your balance isn't good, that kind of thing. They also have sale items all around the outside. You can get some very good discounts. Now, they are a bit pricey, but they have some really good brand names. And often, if I shop off season, so now's a great time to get a low boot right now because they're moving out of their winter wear. So now is a great time to get a low boot that you could do through the summer in the rain, or if you're going somewhere, like I said, that's going to be cold in the evening. Now is the time to look. The other place I would suggest on Silver Creek is La Choux. It's across from the Food Basics. They also have very good brands. That gentleman will measure your feet for you. He can do some minor stretching of the shoe for you if you need that. Uh, I've bought some things out of there. I've been very pleased with um, their items too. More earthy. At least the last time I was there, they tend to keep to more basic colors. Superstore has more fashion things. So Superstore also has some nice platform sandals, very casual, just two straps with a heel strap and nice platform. So again, very good for walking. Solid base. I wouldn't necessarily walk in the woods with them, but on the streets if you're going shopping or just sightseeing somewhere, great. That's what I tell you. Yeah, so I encourage. Oh, so if belly shirts are also in, um, and I strongly encourage women in particular and men. In the '80s, athletic men wore the cut off mesh shirts. They did that all the time. Um, but women in different cultures often show their belly, and then they come here, and women that are heavier don't show off their belly. So there's a woman that used to work, I don't know, see her for a bit at Cornerstone. She's a heavy set woman. And she's always in half tops, and I so applaud that. And like I said, if um, I'm not great at half tops, I prefer um, the back of my shirt to be a little higher and cut lower in the front because I'm more comfortable showing my back off than my belly. I can do it, but I always kind of look down and I want to pull my shirt down. If you're doing that, it might not be the time for you to show off your belly. But you might want to try like a lower back, a scoop neck, or lower here. Again, I've been cutting the collar off t-shirts and the sleeves off, like the hem, the sleeve, so it's a softer look and it rolls a little, so it's a little bit more artsy, which tends to be more feminine. Anyway, guys can do that too. If the earthy men definitely, showing the collarbone off. But again, if you cut it too much, then I suggest putting a t-shirt underneath it so you can't feel this edge, because that's really annoying. Really annoying. And if you cut it too far, depending on the fabric, you can put a tank top over top of it, and then you can make it off the shoulder. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've done it with this shirt, for example. I don't know if you can see, but so yeah, so I've put a tank top over top, like this is the tank top, and then I've put it over top of a black long sleeve, and you can pull it down. I don't stay there, but that's the idea. If you cut it really wide, then you can get that kind of look. Again, women with a belly might not be able to do that just because it's more of a fitted look. For women with a belly, what I would do is get a dress similar to this. See if I can find it. Find it. Where is it? Dress. I'll use this. So this type of dress. So this is an A-line, and an A-line basically means that it's narrow at the shoulders and then goes down. So it's great for women with a hip. Knee length is great for the summer. A dress is very easy if it's A-line and goes wider in the hips and the stomach. It masks the stomach. And what you can do is cut off a tank top, wherever you're comfortable, but just cover your breast and put it over top of the dress. So then you kind of have that like a half shirt look, but your belly and everything's covered too, so you can look a little sexier without exposing too much, right? Strongly encourage women to start wearing sleeveless things, um, and and please, 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 if you don't have anything nice to say about anyone's outfit, don't say anything out at all. What I tried to do, if I'm having lunch with a friend or a family member, and their hair looks nice that day, or I notice they've had it cut and it looks nice, I will compliment them on their hair. I don't care what the rest of the outfit looks like. Often people have a really nice top on, but the pants don't match. But the top is really nice, so I'll say the top is nice, right? I won't say the top's nice, but your pants suck, man. I won't say that, because that's not good for people's self-esteem, and chances are they'll just probably start dressing worse, not better. If that's your goal, I'm not really sure what your goal is if you're cutting up someone's outfit. The other thing I'd strongly encourage you to do, if you're not dressed to the nines, you should probably keep your mouth shut about how other people dress. You really should, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Unless you're like, fashion model and people are taking pictures of you, keep your mouth shut about other people's outfits, honestly. um yeah, I can't tell you. Yeah, so there's two examples of how to get a little sexier. Also, if you have thin legs, I'm trying to bring in, so I've been mulling over, so we told little girls and women to wear tights, um, to be more decent, which is a good idea, all in all. However, I find with a skirt, even if you're wearing tights, if for some reason a skirt, when if your legs are slightly apart or you bend over, it somehow seems to attract more attention. you know so what I would suggest this summer is that everybody do shorts. So um, knee length shorts are great for casual athletic wear. Short shorts are great for sexy beach wear. Uh, um, but I think a nice pair of dress shorts for women. The other thing I've been wondering about is to get them a little nicer. So if they have a little bit of elastic at the knee and blouse out at the hips, to give more of a hip for women who don't have hips, or women who do have hips who like their hips, even if you tie them. So if you have a pair of capris and you tie a piece of fabric into a bow around the knees or just above the knee, and then blouse it out so they get a bit of a what do we call it, bloomer type look, that can dress them up. I'd stay away from lighter fabrics. And if you're going to do lighter fabrics, then I would wear some sort of athletic short underneath. The jiggle triggers a lot of people. It just, yeah, if you have probably a lot of muscle on your backside and thighs, it seems to jiggle more. And I find, depending on where you're going, especially if you're going somewhere social with where there might be a lot of people of the opposite sex, or if you're going to a business thing, eliminate the jiggle. On the beach, jiggle all you want. Like, consider where you're going. If you're going to the grocery store, cut out the jiggle, because people just want to do their groceries. They don't want have all this and that all over the place. Same with men, I don't want to have all this and that all over the place all the time. You know what I mean? It's triggering. It's hard enough to stay loyal in our relationships without having people, um, you know, hanging out everywhere. The other thing I'd mention to the young women, I'm being very critical of them wearing short shorts right now because it's still cold. That's why you look like you're dressed um, like a hooker. I'm just gonna say it. You dress like you're prostituting yourself because it's too cold for those shorts. They're inappropriate. Now, if you wear those in the height of summer, people are gonna go, "Wow, that's great," because you're wearing less, and that makes a whole lot of sense. But at this time of year, it's too cold. Put some tights on, and you'll look more appropriate. Cheers.